Hi guys, welcome to another video for methodology. For this lesson, we will be talking about basic differentiation. But before anything else, let me introduce myself. I am James Lawrence Valiente, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science student from University of Philippines, Los Baños. So, yung pag-uusapan natin is yung basic differentiation, paano mag-solve ng basic derivatives using the rules we will be talking later. So let's proceed. So first of all, what is a derivative? According to the definition, it is the instantaneous rate of change of a function with respect to one of its variables. So yung kinakalculate natin, if we were looking for a derivative, it's the instantaneous rate of change. Meaning ng instantaneous at that specific period of time. Kung gaano kabilis, ka-significant yung change, ayan yung gusto nating malaman. So, let's proceed. So, before we solve derivatives, let us talk about the applications of derivative in real life. So, kasi para ma-realize din natin na marami siyang uses in real life, and it is very vital in solving real life problems and it is helpful in science-based decision making. So here it is. Here they are. Derivatives are useful in business sa pag-analyze ng mga data, of course. In games, sa pag compute ng mga trajectories, sa mga positions, movements ng mga players. In chemistry, in economics, also in to analyze the trend. In physics, of course, and lastly in biology. But there are a lot of applications. There are many to mention. Kaya I hope that you will discover more of them as you get to learn more about differentiation. So here are the notations for derivatives of a function. We can write first, let me annotate. We can write like this one. This is read as f prime of x. So let me write this here. This notation, you can read this as f prime of x. The next one, this, it can be read as y prime. Take note that these three notations are the same. And the last one, this, is the derivative of y with respect to x. So, that's all. So, nakadepende sa'yo kung ano yung gusto mong gamitin. Pwede mo gamitin yung f prime of x, y prime, or this dy dx, or the derivative of y with respect to x. But yung always ko na ginagamit, yung nakasanayan ko, is the third one, which is dy dx. So let's move on. Rules of differentiation. So I have listed here the 4 basic rules of differentiation, but take note that there are still a lot of rules, techniques in differentiating functions. So, but we'll be only talking about power rule, the first one, the constant rule, the constant multiple rule, and the last one, which is sum and difference rules. So let's talk about them one by one. So let's start with the power rule. The power rule is given as the derivative of this function with respect to x is equal to n times x raised to n minus 1. N here is any real number. So, ang ibig sabihin lang ng power rule is you move the exponent, which is n, you make gagawin mo siyang coefficient in front of x, and then yung kung anong power yon, ima-minus mo siya sa 1, always 1. So for example, this, if we take this as an example, using power rule, take note that x has a power of 1, pero hindi yung nasulat. Pero kapag i-evaluate natin yan using power rule, ang makukuha natin is 1 times x, binaba lang natin dito yung power, and then magma-minus tayo ng 1 here. 1 minus 1, 1. And then, let's evaluate 1, x raised to 0, and take note that any number raised to 0 is 1. So simplify, 1 times 1 is 1. So we get the correct answer. So let's move on to solving some examples. The first one is f of x is equal to x cubed. So let's differentiate this one. Let me use another color. So it is pretty easy. We just move this is equal to 3. We bring down the exponent and we write x, and then 3 minus x. I mean 3 minus 1. It's we always subtract the exponent with 1. So we will get 3x, 3 minus 1 is 2, and then that's it. This is the answer, 3x squared. Next one. So the same procedure, we bring down the exponent 100, and then we just write the x, and then we subtract the exponent with 1. So 100 minus 1, which is 99. 100 minus 1 is equivalent to 100x raised to 99. That's it. And then the last one, we differentiate y equals x squared. So the y prime of this is 9x. So I hope you understand all these examples. If you have questions, feel free to ask all the teams so that we could assist you with your queries. The next rule is the constant rule. So it is pretty easy. It says here that the derivative of a constant is always 0. What is a constant anyway, by the way? A constant is any number. So wala siyang any variable involved like x. It is just a constant alone. So in this example, f of x is equal to 7. Take note na walang nakalagay dito na x, walang nakalagay any variables. Therefore, the derivative of a constant, any number, is always 0. Pero hindi same yung hindi ito applicable sa functions like, let's say 7x, and then since 7 is a constant, we don't write 0 here times x. It is wrong. It is not the correct way to differentiate this function. So that's it. The derivative of a constant is always 0. The next one, the third one, is the constant multiple rule. It says here that the constant multiple rule says says that the derivative of a constant times a function is the constant times the derivative of the function. So what does this mean? So ang una daw natin gagawin is ito yung sinabi ko kanina na hindi to same. Hindi yung same yung f of x, hindi similar yung f of x equals 7x. This is not 0 times x or something like that. Kasi, according to constant multiple rule, kapag magde-differentiate tayo ng functions with a constant, what we should do is to put the constant outside the derivative sign. So, ibig sabihin nun, na kapag yung i-evaluate lang natin, i-differentiate lang natin yung variable. So, example here, y is equal to 2x raised to 1/3. So, ang gagawin daw, sabi dito sa rule ng constant multiple, is ilalabas natin yung 2 and then kukunin natin yung derivative na x raised to 1/3. So, since nasa labas na siya ng derivative, yung 2, ang i-evaluate na lang natin is yung nasa loob. This will be 1/3 x and then 1/3 na naman minus 1. And then, simplify further, 1/3 minus 1. What is 1/3 minus 1? This is 1/3 minus 1. 3, we will get 2/3. So, this is raised to negative x negative 2/3. So, we could still simplify this further by saying that this is 2/3 times x negative 2/3. Since the exponent of the numerator is negative, we could bring down the x here. We bring this to the denominator. So we have 2/3 x raised to, so this is the answer, 2 over 3x raised to 2/3. Did we get this right? Yeah, that's correct. Next example. So, ang gagawin daw is ilalabas yung constant 4/5 times x squared. So, ito yung part na to, itong portion na to, yung gagawa natin, yung i-differentiate natin. So, we have 4/5 times 2x, 2 minus 1. So, we have 4/5 times 2x. So, 2 minus 1 is 1. So, we don't write 1 here. So, we will get 2 times 4 is 8x over 5. So, this is the answer. Correct. So, let's move on to the next slide. So, here in this table, we will be discussing about the techniques kasi may mga functions na mahirap siyang i-differentiate on its original form. So, ang gagawin natin is i-rewrite natin siya in a way na mas madali siyang i-differentiate. Yeah. Kasi, although may mga available na mga techniques, na may available na mga rules, pero we will not be talking about all some of them here. So the first thing is define the function, and then if we are having a hard time using some of those four rules of differentiation, we could rewrite the function so that we can easily differentiate it. So let's have the first example. F of x is equal to 5 over 2x cubed. Pansin natin na yung x cubed ay nasa ilalim and we don't have any rule na discuss thus far na save yung x cube ay nasa denominator. So we will put the denominator to the the x cube to the numerator so that we can evaluate the function. So ang ginawa dito is transfer back lang yung what do you call this? Yung x cube natin na denominator ay transfer sa numerator. So, magiging negative 3 sa rules of exponent. And then, that's it. We differentiate here, negative 3. The negative 4 here is negative 3 minus 1. And so, we get negative 4. And then, simplify. So, binalik after this, negative 3 times 5, that's negative 15, x negative 4. Since natapos natin i-differentiate, pwede na natin ibalik yung variable, yung x, sa denominator kasi para magiging positive yung exponent. So, I hope you get that right. Or you understand the concept here. Next example is g of x is equal to 7 over 3x raised to negative 2. So, again, yung x here is nasa denominator and it has a power of negative 2. So, ilalagay natin sa taas yung x squared para magiging positive. So, same idea with the first example. And then, differentiate na natin siya so that we could get the derivative of x squared is 2x and it has a power of 1 here. So, we don't write that here. And then, we simplify. And we get 2 times 7 is 14. And we write x and 3. So, here is the final answer. The third example is h of x is equal to square root of x. So, sa mga na-discuss natin na rules, walang nakalagay or walang related na rule na paano differentiate ng mga naka-roots. So, ang gagawin natin is we use the technique of rewriting the function. So, take note that square root of x is just equal to x raised to 1/2. So, ang gagawin natin dito, since okay na to, pwede natin gamitin yung power rules. So, we can differentiate the function easily. So, we bring down 1/2 as the exponent, and then, this 1/2, we get this from 1/2 minus 1, which is negative 1/2. And then, we simplify. So, since it is negative 1/2, we bring down the x raised to negative 1/2 so that it will have a positive exponent. But we can also rewrite this as 1 over 2 square root of x. They are just the same. And then, the last example for rewriting before differentiating, we have j of x equals 1 over 2 cube root of x squared. So we write the function such that this cube root is written like this. They are just the same. Like that. And then we differentiate. We bring this is a constant multiple rule, so ilalabas natin yung constant, which is 1/2, and then we differentiate natin yung may variable, which is x. So, negative 2/3 x raised to negative 5 over 3. So, how did we get this? So, first, binaba yung exponent. So, ito yung 2/3, negative 2/3, ginawang constant, or ginawang coefficient ng x. And then, negative 2/3 minus 1 is just negative 5/3. So, we get this exponent here. After that's already kita yung simplification. But we could rewrite this as 1/2. We could rewrite this as 1/2 negative 2/6 over, x raised to 5/3. So that's I think the simplest form of differentiating the function. I guess we get it right. Yeah, negative 6. Yes, it's correct. And then, let's move forward. I hope na nagigets nyo yon, yung rewriting before differentiating. And the last rule is sum and difference rules. So, according to the definition, the derivative of a sum is the sum of the derivatives. So, para mas madali yung ma-differentiate yung function na maraming terms is you could split them by term. So, each term, kukunan mo yan ng derivative. So, tapos, ipa-plus mo lang. Same idea with the difference. So, the derivative of a difference is the difference of the derivative. So, let's have some examples. So, f of x, the first one, is equal to 5x squared plus 7x minus 6. So, ang gagawin natin dito is we evaluate the first term, and then the second term, and then the third term. So let's first evaluate the 5x squared. We differentiate. So we will get 2. This is 5 times 2 x 2 minus 1, which is 2 minus 1, plus we bring down 1, the imaginary 1. So 7 times 1, 1 minus 1. That's it. So the derivative of a constant is 0. So according kanina sa constant rule, the derivative of a constant is 0. So this is 0. The next one. So next, we simplify 5. So 5 times 2 is 10. X 2 minus 1 is 1, so we don't write 1. Plus 7 x 0 raised to 0 minus 0. And then 10x. X raised to 0 is 1, so we write 7 here. So this is the answer. The f prime of x is equivalent to 10x plus 7. Yeah, it's correct. And then the last example, I guess it's the last example. Yeah. So let's proceed to the last example. So although parang marami siyang terms, pero it's pretty easy kasi differentiate mo lang yung each term tapos minus or plus. So let's evaluate the first one. 4x 4 times 6x kasi binaba natin yung 6, and then 6 minus 1 is right first the 6 minus 1 minus, so may nagma-minus na tayo. So 3 times 5x. 5 minus 1 is, okay, 5 minus 1. And then, this third term is 10 times 2, kasi yun to yung, x raised to 2 minus 1. And then, the fifth term, the fourth term, plus 5 times 1, we don't write 1 anymore, x minus 1 minus 1. So, take note that 1 minus 1 is 0 and x raised to 0 is just 1. Plus, the derivative of a constant is 0. Then, we simplify. 4 times 6 is 24. X raised to 5 minus 3 times 5 is 15. X, 5 minus 1 is 4. And then, minus 10. 10 times 2 is 20. It's 20. X 2 minus 1 is 1, so we don't write 1 anymore. Plus 5 plus 0. So let's write the g prime of x. The derivative of g of x is this one. 24 x fifth minus 15 x fourth minus 20x plus 5. So we don't need to simplify this further because it's the simplest form, in the simplest form. That's it. That's how basic sum and difference rules are. So let's move to the next slide. So after learning those basic differentiation rules, I hope that you could try this exercise. Differentiate the following, and then get answers. So to test your understanding, you could assess how well you understood this lesson, and then you could email us or chat us so that we could provide you the correct answers. So I think that's the end of our lesson. Thank you for listening and have a great day.